Does your dealership have a healthy communications ladder? By that, I mean, as the dealer, can your subordinates bring you bad news? In this episode, we're going to talk about fostering healthy lines of communication in your dealership. Stay tuned for this episode of Down Payment.
Welcome to Down Payment, the podcast for used car dealers. Prepare to learn something new about the industry that keeps us moving.
Check out all our podcast content on our social media channels. We are at Down Payment Podcast on YouTube, Down Payment Podcast on Instagram, and Down Payment Pod on X. Welcome back. In this episode, we're going to talk about the health of communication within your dealership. So our dealerships are very communication dependent. They tend to be very hierarchical. There are very few dealers of any scale that have very flat organizations. Instead, we have first line managers that report to higher level managers that all report to a dealer or the ownership of the dealership. And so you've got multiple levels of hierarchy in these organizations, and it's just part of the dealership culture. Very hierarchical organizations. Well, for this to work, you have to have really healthy lines of communication. You need to have communication going upwards and downwards on a very effective, healthy basis. It's a communications organism, and good communications is important so that the left hand and the right hand know what they're doing. All of us with any experience in a dealership know of tons of cases of where we've had communications breakdowns, and it really is incumbent upon the top level leadership of the business to make sure that communication is going on well. And one of the important elements of that is making sure that your subordinates, as the dealer or the general manager or the top level leader, that you are fostering good upward communication, that people can communicate up to you effectively. So upward communication is all about your lower level employees communicating to the level above them. And it's a vital process because it allows you to make informed decisions as the leader. If you don't have good upward communication, you're kind of operating with blinders on. You only get to see that part of your operation that is directly in front of you. And what's not directly in front of you, you are blinded to unless someone is communicating to you about it. So to manage up, to communicate up to you, you need to be a leader that supports your employees coming to you with information that's going to both be good and bad, complex and simple. And you're subject as part of that to manipulation by your subordinates. So you want to foster communication that is frank and honest, and that you don't reward simple flattery, people trying to win your favor just for the sake of gaining influence over you. I see a lot of dealers, unfortunately, that fall victim to this. You don't want to reward flattery. You don't want to reward people that are just bringing you the information that you want to hear. You need to be thoughtful and strategic. You want to have people feel comfortable bringing you bad news. You want to have people that give you their own assessments and are proactive collaborators. That requires two-way communication. You need to be fostering the development of your subordinates. You want to be the leader that nurtures and empowers and guides them so that they're seeing a picture bigger than their own job role. And you can do this through training, through meetings where their opinion is valued beyond their own department. You want to meet with multiple layers in your organization. And you don't want to get mad when someone brings you bad news. Super important. You got to respond thoughtfully to bad information and bad news. Even if it requires you to make adjustments, even if it means that you're going to take a hit to your business, you always want to get that bad news, because that bad news delayed only makes that bad news worse. If you can foster these good lines of communication, your dealership is going to be stronger and more agile as a result. The left hand is going to know what the right hand is doing, and you are going to have a true competitive advantage over your competition. Work on communication both upwards and downwards in your dealership, and make sure that your managers are doing the same with their direct reports. If you can do that, you're going to be on your way to selling more cars. With that, go sell some cars. It's been another episode of Down Payment. Check out our podcast on all our social media channels. We are at Down Payment Podcast on YouTube, Down Payment Podcast on Instagram, and Down Payment Pod on X.
Thank you for listening. Down Payment, the podcast for used car dealers, is a production of Meta Financial Services Incorporated.